Do you know what it feels like to walk into a room and see your entire marriage collapse in front of you? Not in whispers, not in suspicions, not in tiny cracks you can still patch with excuses, but in full view with the music blaring, the lights flashing, and the one person who promised you loyalty, moving her body against someone else like you never existed. That's the question I never thought I'd ask myself, but the night she told me it was ladies' night only gave me my answer. She had said it so casually, like she was telling me the sky was blue. "It's just me and the girls tonight," she said, standing in the doorway, adjusting the strap of her dress in the mirror by the hall. A black dress, tighter than anything she'd worn in years, paired with heels that made her legs look endless. Her makeup was perfect, her hair curled just enough to look effortless. She smiled at me in that quick, dismissive way that carried an edge of impatience, like I was slowing her down. I frowned, leaning against the doorframe. "Since when do you need that much perfume for a ladies' night?" She laughed, too sharp. "God, don't be paranoid. It's just me, Jess, and Lauren. We're catching up. You're so dramatic sometimes." I wanted to believe her. I really did. For years I had told myself, trust was the foundation of marriage, that suspicion only rots what you're trying to preserve. So I let her go, kissed her cheek, told her to have fun. But something in the pit of my stomach burned, and no matter how many times I tried to smother it, it wouldn't die. Maybe it was the way she wouldn't look me in the eye. Maybe it was the way her phone had been buzzing more often lately. Names I didn't recognize flashing across the screen before she swiped them away. Maybe it was just the way her voice changed when she said ladies' night too quick, too forced. Whatever it was, it pushed me into the car 2 hours later, parked a block away from the club she always went to with her friends. I told myself I was being insane, that I'd only sit there for 5 minutes, prove myself wrong, and go home. But then I heard the music thudding through the walls, saw the stream of people walking in, not just women but men too, couples, groups, not ladies' night, not even close. My chest tightened. I walked inside, weaving through the crowd, the bass vibrating through the floorboards. The lights flickered, purple and red, washing over faces that blurred together in sweat and laughter. I scanned the room, my eyes darting, searching for her, and then I saw, in the middle of the dance floor, not with Jess, not with Lauren, but with him, a man I'd never seen before, tall, broad-shouldered, his hands gripping her hips as she swayed against him, her arms draped over his shoulders, her head tilted back in laughter, her body pressed so close to his that there wasn't room for air between them. My stomach dropped, my vision tunneling as the world spun around me. She moved with him like they were alone, like no one else existed, like I didn't exist. The woman who had kissed me in the doorway hours earlier was now grinding against another man as though our marriage was nothing but a prop she'd left at home. I stood frozen, my heart pounding so loud I could barely hear the music. 100 thoughts slammed through me at once: storm onto the floor, and drag her away, shout her name until she froze, or turn around and leave before she saw me. But I couldn't move. I could only watch as she leaned in close to his ear, whispered something that made him laugh, then pulled back with that smile she used to save just for me. The kind of smile that used to be mine alone. My hands shook. I wanted to scream, to rip the music apart with my voice, but instead I stepped back, retreating into the shadows of the club. I watched her, minute after minute, song after song, convincing myself I needed to see more, that maybe I was mistaken, maybe it was innocent. But every time the lights flashed they revealed the same thing: her body against his, her smile, her betrayal. Finally I stumbled out into the night, the cool air hitting me like a slap. I leaned against the wall, my chest heaving, bile rising in my throat. "It's ladies' night only," she had said, and there she was, proving that her words were nothing more than costumes she wore to get what she wanted. When she came home hours later, she smelled of sweat and perfume, her cheeks flushed, her eyes bright. She kissed me quickly, too quickly, and whispered, "It was fun, but I'm exhausted." Then she slipped into bed, turning her back to me, asleep within minutes. I lay there staring at the ceiling, my mind replaying every second of what I'd seen: the lies, the dance, the way she had looked at him, like he was the only man in the world. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The images looped endlessly in my head, gnawing at me, shredding me from the inside. By morning I knew I couldn't ignore it, but I also knew I couldn't confront her yet, because she was too good at twisting, too good at making me feel insane. She'd say he was just a friend, just a stranger, just dancing. She'd roll her eyes, call me paranoid, tell me I was delusional, and maybe, if I had no proof, I'd believe her. So I decided to wait, to watch, to gather what I needed. In the days that followed, I noticed everything. The way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The way she slipped out of the room to answer calls. The sudden, late nights at work. The outfits she never wore for me anymore. I checked our bank statements, charges at restaurants we'd never been to. On nights she said she was with her friends. Ubers that dropped her off in neighborhoods far from her office. Small things, but enough to sting. And then, one night, she left her purse on the counter. Her phone buzzed, lighting up with a message. Curiosity clawed at me, until I picked it up. Just one look, just one. The preview was enough. Last night was incredible. Can't wait for next time. My stomach dropped. I snapped a photo of the screen, my hands trembling. Proof. Finally, undeniable proof. I didn't sleep again that night. I stayed awake, staring at her as she slept peacefully beside me, wondering how she could lie so easily, how she could betray so completely. And then I realized something. The next big event was her friend's engagement party. She'd been talking about it for weeks, planning her outfit, excited to see everyone. She wanted me to come, to play the part of the perfect husband, while she carried on with her secret. That would be my stage. That would be the night the music stopped. She thought she was clever, sneaking into clubs, whispering in strange men's ears while I sat at home believing her stories. But she had no idea the walls were closing in. She thought she could erase me, but I was done being erased, and she had no idea what was coming when the spotlight turned her way. The engagement party was held in one of those fancy rooftop venues that scream picture-perfect moments. String lights hung overhead, music soft but upbeat, a bar stocked with champagne that never seemed to run out. Everyone was dressed sharp, buzzing with excitement, ready to celebrate love and loyalty, the kind of irony that made my chest ache. She had spent hours getting ready. A red dress this time, the kind that clung to her curves and shimmered under the light when she moved. She'd twirled in front of the mirror, smiling at her reflection, asking me, "Do I look okay?" I'd nodded, forcing a smile, while the envelope in my jacket pocket dug into my ribs. Inside were the photos, the screenshots, the proof that her ladies' nights weren't what she claimed. She thought tonight was about her friend. She thought she'd glide through the evening, hand in mind, pretending our marriage was intact while sneaking glances at him across the room. But tonight wasn't her friend's stage. Tonight was hers. The party started smoothly enough. People mingled. Laughter filled the air. Glasses clinked. She chatted with her friends, her smile bright, her laugh loud, her hand occasionally brushing my arm in a gesture for the crowd, not for me. And sure enough, he was there. The same man from the club, the one she'd danced on like I didn't exist. He was standing with a small group, but his eyes kept flicking to her, and each time, her smile lingered just a bit too long. My jaw clenched. My fingers brushed the edge of the envelope, reminding myself, not yet. Timing was everything. When the speeches started, the bride-to-be stood, glowing, thanking her friends for being there, thanking her fiancé for making her dreams come true. It was sweet, heartfelt, the kind of speech that makes people tear up. Applause followed, glasses raised, love toasted, and then, my wife stood. "I just want to say something," she said, her voice smooth, her smile dazzling. "To my dear friend, congratulations. You've found someone who makes you truly happy, and that's all any of us can ask for. And to love itself, to finding it, to keeping it, to holding on even when things get tough." Applause again. People smiled, nodded. She looked down at me then, her eyes soft, her hand brushing my shoulder. A picture-perfect wife, but I'd seen the real picture. I stood slowly, deliberately, the scrape of my chair cutting through the noise. Conversations faltered, heads turned. She froze, her smile stiffening, her eyes wide. "Honey, sit down," she whispered, panic lacing her voice. I didn't. I stepped forward, the envelope in my hand. My heart pounded, but my voice came out steady, cold. "Since we're toasting to love and loyalty tonight, it feels like the right time to add something." The room quieted, dozens of eyes fixed on me. She shifted uncomfortably, her face pale. I opened the envelope, pulled out the first photo, the one I'd taken of her on the dance floor, her body pressed against his, her head thrown back in laughter. I held it up, the glossy paper catching the light. "This," I said, my voice sharp, "is what she was doing on one of her so-called ladies' nights, dancing on him, in a club, full of people like I didn't exist." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Her friends covered their mouths. The bride-to-be's smile collapsed into shock. "No," my wife cried, stepping toward me, her voice trembling. "It's not what it looks like. He's just a friend. We were just dancing. It didn't mean anything." I pulled out the next page. A screenshot of the message I'd captured from her phone. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait for next time." His name flashing clear at the top. "Friends don't write this," I said, my voice cutting. "And wives don't hide these messages from their husbands while calling them paranoid." The room buzzed with whispers, sharp and furious. Her friends exchanged horrified looks. The man shifted on his feet, his face draining of color. She collapsed into sobs, clutching at my arm, mascara streaking her cheeks. "Please," she begged. "Please don't do this here. We can talk about it at home. Please, I'll end it. I'll fix it. Just don't ruin me in front of everyone." I pulled free, my voice final. "You ruined yourself the moment you let him put his hands on you. You ruined us when you told me it was ladies' night while he was holding your waist. Tonight isn't me ruining you. It's just me showing the truth." Her parents, who had been invited to the party, looked shattered. Her mother's hand was pressed to her mouth, her father's face red with fury. The bride-to-be shook her head, whispering, "How could you?" under her breath. I tucked the photos back into the envelope, set my glass down, and looked at her one last time. "You told me I didn't exist. Tonight you get to see what it feels like when I really don't." And then I walked out. Behind me, chaos erupted. Her sobs, his stammering, friends whispering furiously, some glaring at her, others at him. The celebration of love and loyalty had turned into a courtroom, and she was guilty with no defense. The night air outside was sharp, clean, cutting through the weight in my chest. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt free. The fallout was swift. Words spread fast. Friends gossip. Families talk. She lost respect in her circles. Her parents stopped answering her calls. The man she thought was worth everything disappeared the moment the truth went public, leaving her alone. She called me endlessly for weeks. Her messages swung from rage to desperation. "You ruined me one day. Please, I love you, come back." The next, I never answered. I filed for divorce. My lawyer looked at the evidence and nodded. "This is more than enough," he said. "And me?" I walked away scarred. Yes, changed forever. Yes, but free. Sometimes I still hear her voice in my head. It's ladies' night only, and then I remember the sight of her on that dance floor, her body pressed against his, her laughter ringing out. That wasn't ladies' night. That was betrayal with a beat, and she'll dance to that truth for the rest of her life.